In September, Aaliyah McLean won the MMA debut in the second round upon using a rear naked choke against Clinny Provost. McLean is the second transgender woman to compete in the MMA and said, "I want to pick up the mantle that Fallon put down." For reference, Fallon Fox is a transgender MMA fighter who fractured an opponent's skull in 2014. We have these transgender guys going into MMA fights with girls. We have a transgender that broke and fractured an opponent's skull in 2014. Can we let that sit in? We have an MMA fighter that's a guy fighting girls that fractured a girl's spine. And you want this to continue? Disgusting. Progressives hail these victories as progress for the trans community. And Thomas stated in an interview with the Swam that the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, guidelines for intersex and trans athletes are fair. Of course, therein lies two questions. What are the guidelines and what are they for? In fact, fair. Let's find out. In 2004, the IOC required transgender athletes to undergo gender reassignment surgery to compete in their preferred gender category. Then those guidelines were updated in 2015 to remove the surgery requirement. Instead, transgender athletes had to reach a testosterone level threshold of no more than 10 nmol per liter if they wanted to compete in women's sports. However, earlier in 2021, the IOC further refined its guidelines to remove the testosterone threshold requirement and allow intersex federations to establish requirements. The guidelines state that the IOC is therefore not in a position to issue regulations to define eligibility criteria for every sport, discipline, or event across the very different national jurisdictions in sports systems. In other words, there's no longer universal guidelines when it comes to trans athletes. Still, while there is no longer universal guidelines, the National Collegiate Athlete Association, the NCAA, has rules for trans athletes competing in college sports. Specifically, NCAA guidelines state that if a male wants to compete in women's sports, he must complete 1 year of testosterone suppression medication. Unfortunately, that therapy doesn't level the playing field, obviously. According to a recent study by the British Journal of Medicine on the effect of gender-affirming hormones on an athlete performance among transgender women and transgender men. Even after 2 years of hormone treatment, trans women were still 12% quicker than their female counterparts, trans women being an actual guy. Furthermore, a study published in the Journal of Endocrine Practice found that only 1/4 of trans men, girls that transition to, trans women, so actual guys, treated with oral ceprolone, a testosterone blocker, and oral estrogen therapy could lower their testosterone levels to the usual female psychologic range. Indeed, the study found that 75% of trans women, guys that are girls or pretending to be girls, fail to suppress their testosterone through medical intervention alone. Another study by sports scientist Tommy Lundberg and published in the National Library of Medicine found that trans women, guys that are pretending to be a girl, generally retain their strength levels after 1 year and maintain an edge in strength over cis women. Cis women being actual girls. Woman. What is a woman? Lundberg stated to the DW, Daily Wire. The big problem right now is that the hormone therapy itself doesn't really remove the advantage to an extent that you can claim that fairness has been achieved. Okay? And actually, the IOC states that the overriding objective is and remains the guarantee of fair competition. That's what they say in their guidelines. So what's the problem right now? They don't go hand in hand. Indeed. In another PubMed study released in early 2021, researchers found that the performance gaps between males and females become significant at puberty. Pointedly, it concluded longitudinal studies examining the effects of testosterone suppression on muscle mass and strength in transgender women, fake women, constantly show very modest changes, where the loss of lean body mass, muscle area, and strength typically amounts to approximately 5% after treatment. Thus, after 12 months of treatment. Thus, the muscular advantage enjoyed by transgender fake woman is only minimally reduced when testosterone is suppressed. Sports organizations should consider this evidence when reassessing current policies regarding participation of transgender women in female category of sport. After Leah Thomas dominated the 200-meter freestyle with a time of 1:43, the swimmer allegedly bragged that it was so easy. I was cruising. Further, one of Thomas's teammates said about females competing against Thomas, they feel so discouraged because no matter how much work they put in, they're going to lose. Usually, they can get behind the blocks and know that they outtrained all their competitors, and they're going to win and give back, give it their all. Now, they're going to have to go behind the blocks, knowing no matter what, they have no chance of winning. They have absolutely no chance of winning. Why? Because of the fact that you are up against a guy. Not a cis guy, an actual guy. Not a transgender woman, a guy. That's the only thing that he could possibly be, a guy. Indeed, while progressive language argues that allowing transgender women, fake women, to compete in their chosen genders sports promotes, quote, fairness and inclusion, the above scientific studies show that transgender women, fake women, maintain a biological advantage over cis women, real women, even after prolonged hormone therapy. Consequently, allowing transgender women, fake women, to compete in women's sports, what is a woman, promotes inequality and exclusion for biological women, real women. Before stating his career as a journalist, okay, whatever. So they're talking about the person that made this article. So this is from CNS News, the right news right now. This is written by Katie Spence, a girl, a woman. So what does this say? Let's break it down. This means, okay, and I'm looking you right in the face. This means that transgenders can only be the gender that they are, okay, because of the fact that there's biological differences between the two genders. Guys are more stronger than girls genuinely. Girls are less stronger than guys. Okay, they're more emotional than guys. There's biological differences between the two. Girls can have babies, women can have babies, guys cannot. Okay? Girls have the egg to produce the baby. Guys have the sperm. Okay? That's it. There's biological differences between the two genders, and if we do not say that there is biological differences between the two genders, we're neglecting the facts that we knew since the beginning of time, since Jesus, or even before Jesus, the first person to ever walk on this earth, realized. Hey, were you really going to click off this video before leaving a like and subscribing down below? Wow, so rude.